Hey, what's up? And welcome back. I'm El.P, and here's my experience at the Concours d'Elegance. The day was a success. People, cars, bikes, and all the good stuff, plus companies, came through. The weather was perfect, a bit of showers in the afternoon hours, but that was just there to reduce the dust that was there. My shoes spoke for themselves. Right now I'm back at the studio doing this video because vlogging is tricky. Respect to all the bloggers in the building, that stuff is not easy. Because damn, holding the camera, the mic, doing an interview, or looking at something, but you want to look at something else. So many dynamics, you don't know what to do. Hopefully, as we go on, I'll get better at this. But for this event, forgive me in advance, I'm still saving for a wider lens. Here are some of my highlights of the day, and I hope you guys enjoy this. First of all, what's this event all about? It's a public exhibition and competition for cars, motorbikes, and other automobiles, and they're mainly judged on elegance and beauty. Locally in Kenya, this event is organized by the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. I don't know about other countries like SA and stuff. So quick highlights. Go to see this really old steam train. What was very impressive about it was the parts were moving smoothly and it was running on bamboo. I bet this was not the original fuel it was using back then. Probably it was using coal, but the owner had stacked a pile of bamboos behind his old reservoir, and that was what was powering this steam train. Didn't get to meet the owner, had a lot of questions that I'd have liked him to answer. Something like, how much range did it have on the amount of water or coal put, stop speed, and does it mean that more pressure, more power? What was its main source of fuel? And things like how much torque and power did it produce and how much could it pull, etc., etc. Mercedes ODTW was there with one of the old lorries and the new trailers. You could just see the difference of back then and now. This trailer, one day I want to own this and just modify the back to put like a camper for my trips in future. Calvin D'Souza was there with his mad hot rods and his army of a team. Really nice guy, and this is what he had to say to you guys.
Well, what I was doing for a living, I was selling clothes for a living, and then from that now I'm building cars, old cars. For somebody, and I used to sell the clothes for them. And why I'm telling you this is because I want to change this idea of people thinking that it takes a very rich person to build these kinds of cars. I also came from nothing, and I'm able to build these cars. So that's why I say I came from that, and that's what I'm doing now, so that you guys don't get discouraged and do the same. Well, I usually find them lying in people's farms, but of late we haven't had time to go out to source for these cars. So we've reached out to a company called Classic Car Listings, and we basically tell him our criteria and budget and what our plans are for the car, and he sources them for us. So Classic Car Listings has been a big help in this year mostly. He's already sourced for us about 3 cars, which will be probably unveiled by December this year. I do have a mechanical background, which was entirely by accident, because when my dad's actually a mechanic. He's retired now, but my dad's old schooler. He's cut from rock. He's got hard teeth, you know what I mean? So our punishment when we used to fail in school, we had to spend time with my dad over the holidays at the workshop, yeah. So he never used to talk to us. So we learned just by watching. And then eventually we used to go for motorsports events and then see people's hype when they used to see my dad's builds and stuff. And that's how we slowly got into it and got into now mechanics. And that's where we are today, yeah. I used to be that nuisance child, you know, the one which your mom's always afraid to take to church, huh? That used to be me. So my tattoos I started from maybe when I was 20, without permission. It was the ones which I have on my neck. They're cherries. At the time I was working at a casino, so on the slot machines they have the 3 cherries that you get, so I got 2. And also I was into hot rodding back then, so it felt right. So I think out of all the ones I have on my body, they all tell stories, but this is the favorite story. It was the first one that I got, and I got beaten. I got beaten for it, yeah.
Who, your dad or your mom?
By my mom. And we all know the beating from mama is worse than from Musea.
I'm requesting backup. We have a BMW situation. Black mama whooping.
We appreciate the work you're doing with the culture. And you're inspiring a lot of kids, a lot of young guys.
You guys are inspired. That's
Yeah.
exactly what we want. This is not money making for us. We just want to show you how it's done. That's
Yeah.
why everything is exposed.
'Cause
You
I-
guys can see. If
Great.
you guys follow my page, you can see what it takes to build, how much it costs, how easy, how difficult. So you all don't get discouraged. This is for everyone. It's not for the rich. You listening to me, guys? It's for everyone. Oh.
Wish him all the best and can't wait to see his future projects and get to talk more with him on a more one-to-one personal level to get to hear his whole story and all the other things that he has planned for us. Nissan was there, and there was this car I've never seen before. Okay, the Navara we know, and the Patrol, but there was this car called the Terra. Never heard of it, never seen it, never heard of a previous model. It was the first time I was seeing it, and it looked more like a Land Cruiser Prado or like the new Fortuner, that kind of size. Somewhere in between there. A really nice looking car. Love the interior with all the nice red color accents, or whatever this color is. You can tell me down in the comments below. But yeah, looks really nice. And from the looks of it, just looking at it, thumbs up Nissan. Hope to get to drive one and hope to get to review one in the near future. Next car was now getting into the classics, and the first car that caught my eye was this two-tone Rolls-Royce. I don't know if you guys have seen the series Crown on Netflix, but this was the car that the Queen used to go around with in London, the Rolls-Royce. If you ask me, I only know the name brands of most of these cars, but the second names, just like everybody else, just an admirer. But this was a very beautiful looking car. I got to meet the owner, a really nice old gentleman, and he got to tell me a bit about this car. And here's what he had to say.
Well, it's a Rolls-Royce Silver Dawn, 1952. It was owned by a government officer in the Gold Coast before independence. At Gold Coast independence, he came to Kenya, got a job in Mombasa,
And he came with it.
and obviously brought the car with him. And then he died intestate in Mombasa, intestate, without a will. All right? Some noisy modern cars, yes. Anyway, and it was auctioned in the Ring Us Up program, which was organized by the Round Table in Mombasa in those days. And the person who bought it wasn't really very interested, so the car was then cocooned for 20 years. I knew it, and it just took me 20 years to get hold of it. And then it took me a further about 10 years to restore it, ground up restoration. Most of the body was rebuilt, the engine out, engine rebuilt, reupholstered, everything. Insurance. Well, you can't insure, really.
You can't insure.
No. I just insure it for third party only. Because if anything happens to it, I'm the only person who could restore it. No, not at all, not at all. The Ascaros are all very interested. They're delighted to see it because they remember that Jomo Kenyatta had a Rolls-Royce. So they say, oh, was it Jomo Kenyatta's Rolls-Royce? I say, no, that was another one. But they appreciate that it's a Rolls-Royce. And these days you can get specialist number plates anyway. Yeah. So it's taxed and insured and legally on the road. I don't drive it too far because driving conditions are so bad. What with the sleeping policemen, boda-bodas, matatus, pedestrians.
For most viewers, I'd like to know, what do you do for a living? How does a person get to own such a beautiful car?
Look at my grey hair, Buana. I'm an old retired man. Yes.
But you got it down when maybe you were
No, I mean, a lot of these cars, or a lot of the cars that you see here today, they weren't bought for a lot of money. They were found, derelict, neglected, people who weren't really interested. So then it takes enthusiasts like us to get hold of them and to spend an awful lot of time and money and energy in restoring them to originality. The interesting thing about my Rolls-Royce is it's absolutely and totally original. Everything. Even down to the nuts and bolts, which are BSF nuts and bolts, British Standard Fine Threads, right? To the engineers who know about these things. So absolutely everything is as it should be. right?
Yeah.
Royal Standard on top.
Standard.
Actually, during the funeral, they were using a Bentley.
Yeah, they're using a Bentley.
And it was a very special Bentley which was purposely built. Again, coach built for the royal family.
Yeah.
But it's got a high roof with perspex roof, and whenever a member of royalty is on board, there's always the Royal Standard on the top. And they do have several Rolls-Royces as well. They're still in use. You saw them, they were all used during the funeral.
It's quite amazing thinking that after all these years, these cars are still running. And 1952. Beautiful. Thank you. By the way, this was the same guy who owned the steam train I talked about earlier. So clearly you can see he's a collector. Maybe you can talk to him and find a way to get this car. Next car was this big yellow. Is it yellow or orange? Orange truck. Pretty massive. And we don't get it big like this anymore in our markets. We only get the small Ford Ranger or the bigger Ranger Raptor. I'm a pickup guy, and this really pulled my eye. And I think this was the only pickup that was presented there that day. Next was this really clean Beetle. This Beetle came from rust to riches. See what I did there?
No, never.
It was clean and beautifully done, with a split rear window, sunroof, and a lowered stance. This restoration was clean. Met the owner Steve, who restores Beetles. If you've ever seen a pink Beetle around Langata or Karen, this is the owner. He's the one who does all these restorations on these old Beetles. This was at the end of the day when people were tired and people were packing up, but he took his time and told me a bit about his Beetle. This is what he had to say.
My name is Steve Warui. I'm a photographer and car restorer. No. I didn't. It's passion. It started as a hobby. Both as a photographer, I also started as a hobby. And even the car thing was also as a hobby. But then it's picked up, it's become a business now. I have a shop in Langata. Yes. We do quite a variety of cars. Mostly we do VW Beetles, but it's a very basic car. I mean, it's like a base model. The mechanics that were applied on the Beetle applied across many platforms like BMW, Peugeot, Fiat, Alfa Romeo. Like the only thing that changes is maybe layout, but the science is the same. Yeah. We got it for 100,000 shillings. It was a rust bucket. It wasn't running. It was a complete shell. Like the sunroof had been burned. It had worn out, and it was now the car was open to the elements. So when it would rain, the rust would eat slowly. And by the time, I think it was grounded for about 30 years. So when we got it, it was completely rusted out. But we had a vision of what we wanted to look like. And, you get a picture of, what do you call it? Like an inspiration board. Yeah, like I want this car by the time I'm done to look like this. So like even when you're sourcing for parts, we'd look for parts that will bring it closer and closer to what the original idea was. And I think we've achieved it. All the spares are imported. But like the engine, I didn't bring in the complete engine. I brought in parts. I brought in like pistons, sleeves, cylinder heads, a new crankshaft, new clutch, new flywheel and such. And then I assembled the engine myself. That way I save on costs by like 70%. Yeah.
And I'm seeing like on the engine there's a lot of chrome. Did you do the chrome yourself too, or the chrome came with the parts?
No, the chrome came as parts. So we assembled it. No, it's not yet over. Yeah, but it's at a good percentage now, because now, like now with projects, once they roll out, once they come out in the open, now you see like where it needs improvement and room for growth. So like we've noted a few things that we'll go work on and improve the car. No, this is not the type you sell. Because I think it's the only one on the continent. Yeah.
The only one? Because I've noticed the sunroof, as you said, the sunroof is stock. It came like that.
Yeah, it's original. Even the windows at the back. You see the others have a single oval window. This has a double. Yes, the projects are there, but we normally hide them. Like this one was released today. 99.99% of the people who've seen it have seen it for the first time today. No, but if you enter into classic cars, you don't have any money left for drugs.
We're broke.
It's a very expensive
Yeah, it's a very expensive hobby.
So are you telling us to get in or not to get in?
It's a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole.
Yeah, if you enter, you won't be able to get out. Yeah.
Awesome. Maze, thank you. I hope you've inspired some guys with this build, and we're looking forward to more of your builds. For the next car, it's a Datsun. I just know it's a Datsun. I know the specific name, but this car was clean. Even the underbits were clean. This car doesn't even look like it's been resprayed or anything. Whether the owner bought it and kept it for all these years, doesn't drive it or whatever, but this car was clean. Mint, clean. The seats were intact, the chrome was intact, the color was mint. Beautiful car, really beautiful. Next car was this lime green BMW. The color caught me first because I like green. Secondly, the grille was how BMW should be. And the Half-Master King was there. So BMW diehards were really happy with this car. Next car that caught my eye was this Peugeot. Green in color, convertible, two-door. It looks like a 504, but it wasn't. And the owners of the car really dressed the part. If you've seen any other Peugeot like this, locally here in Kenya, tell us down in the comments below. Met Mr. Henry, who had this beautiful BMW bike. From a distance, you'd think it's stock, but if you look closely, you'd find there are small improvements here and there to just make it that much better. If you're interested, this bike was on sale and some other bikes. You can hit me up on WhatsApp and I'll share his contact if you want to make a purchase on this very bike or his other bikes. On the bike side, there was a lot going on. Didn't get to talk to most of the guys, but I got to talk to Kevin, who was the owner of this 750 Honda Shadow motorcycle. Massive bike. And what I liked is the bike still looked so good, even though this is his daily. He takes this car to work each and every day. But if you looked at all the things he had done, the paint, the chrome, was still looking all mint and good. I appreciate when people take care of the machines like this. I had a small chat with him, and here's what he had to say for you guys.
So my name is Kevin. This is a Honda Shadow 750, 2001. What I do for a living, I'm a jack of all trades, master to none.
Master to none?
Master to none.
Out of all those trades, which one do you think is the best?
Well, I get paid.
Where you get paid is where you stay.
Yes, that's where I stay. I'm Kenyan. This bike came in from the States. The owner used to live in the States, so came in with the bike and then parked it. So bike was parked for 5 years. Then I was called in to buy it. This was 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
So you had this bike. This was your first bike?
I've restored it. No, this was my 5th bike. It was a Rickety ZMR 200 or so, 220, and it didn't even have. It was just a wreck. Yeah, but it moved. That's what mattered. Yeah. I think 8 months. 8 months. Then I sold it for 20K. I choke. So everything comes in from the States. So if it's the exhaust, I bring in the exhaust from the States. The Mustang seats from the States. Yeah, filter, the oil filters. Now even brakes, because I use Brembo brakes. I have Brembo brake pads. My oil filter, I get chrome oil filters. So for the show anyway. Yeah. So I buy stock, then for every service I always change, and I do the service myself. Yeah.
Here in Kenya, like now insurance.
Yes.
How do you go about that here in Kenya?
Bike is fully registered, so it's comprehensive insurance. I'll be paid if it crashes. Yeah, full compensation.
And fuel economy.
Amazing. So this bike will give me 28 kilometers for every liter. Yeah. Yeah, it's a 17-liter tank. Yeah. It's my daily commute. If you ask Thika Road guys, they've seen it.
So if you daily it, how is that like with traffic, going between cars? How do you manage all that with the big size of the bike?
So the beauty with this bike is the sound. I'm able to lane split. When guys hear my bike coming, they just give me way. That's the beauty, yeah. Guys just open way and I pass. You guys want to see the bike and then it's standard. So you'd wonder, that's not a border coming. And then the lights are bright, so everyone just opens up. It's a beautiful bike to commute with. Yeah. Brace yourself. Brace yourself. This bike is very demanding, but it's a workhorse. In terms of engine, it won't stress you, but in terms of trim, paint, the extras, just making the bike look like a bike.
So don't drop it.
Don't drop it. Don't drop it. We've done Namanga, and that's it. Yeah. Most of the miles I've done on this bike is on my daily commute. That's it. Yeah, 70 clicks a day, 35 to 35 from. It's a sweet ride.
And the best thing is that you stay on thicker roads, so...
Yeah, so I really pull the miles. Yeah.
So thank you, Bana. Thank you for letting us hear your story and see your beautiful bike.
Thank you for interviewing me. It's a privilege, man.
Those are just a few of the cars and bikes that were there. Didn't get time to go around talking to all these guys. As you can see, the event was packed. I'm talking a lot, so here's a montage of the rest of the event.